Boom, there we go. There we go. Welcome to another Jewel Sessions, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we are unplugged with my guy Kelly V, one of my man's type thing. I don't even want to say no more. I gotta let the man introduce himself and drop everything, and then I'll add my sprinkle of love that I have on there. So Kelly, please tell the people who you are, man.
Yes, sir. Once again, appreciate everybody for being here. It's gonna be a good night. Number one. Number two, my name is Kelly Velez, Kelly V, whatever you want to call me, you feel me? I am a radio personality, you know what I mean, on iHeart Radio for a couple different stations. I voice for 104.5 The Beat out here in Orlando, 96.9 The Game, which is a sports station right here in Orlando as well, 95.7 The Beat, which is in Tampa, and I also do some voice work around the country, Milwaukee, Norfolk, Virginia, San Francisco, you name it. I've been in those markets before. So just blessed to be here once again. And that's kind of just the gist of what I do and where we going, baby.
Let's roll, let's roll. So let's get into the nitty gritty from the beginning. Like, how'd you get into this? You feel me? Like, how'd you start in radio overall?
Right. Well, before we get there, I think it was just mentality. Like before you start something that you really want to do, you should have the mentality for it. Because for
That's real.
me, like I grew up in New York, right? And Hot 97, Angie Martinez, even Power 105, all these things were so ingrained into my spirit. And I always love hip hop culture, period. You know what I mean? So I always wanted to do what they did. I always wanted to get on the box and just chop it up with some of my favorite artists and get the people, or get the message to the people, right? So it kind of started there. And then I was in New York for a while, did a couple things in terms of hip hop and R&B. I was a journalist. I, wrote for publications like Double XL. There was an online magazine called Respect Magazine. I was an editor there. And all these things, like I started writing, you feel me? But then I realized writing didn't really it didn't do it for me the same way that it would if I spoke, you know what I mean? So I started to really look into the radio side since I was so into it and it was ingrained in me. And this was probably 2017 or so. And I had moved over here to Florida at that time. And I went to UCF. So I went to UCF. I did my initial AA somewhere else. I came over here to UCF and I started in the RTV program, radio television. And there I continue my journalism, right? And I'll never forget this one day in class, the dude had like those slide down joints that you put your projectors on, right? And then he pulls it down, it slides up, there's a whiteboard behind it, and it basically says, we're gonna learn how to do obituaries today. I was like, nah, I ain't doing this. This is not what I want to do. So I was able to switch over to the radio side and I really just learned the ins and outs of things in school. But all the while I was doing it, I was just cold emailing places, man. And that's one thing I'll say. The worst people can say is no, you feel me? So if you really want to try something out, cold email, cold DM, whatever the case is, put yourself in those positions to meet the people that you know you need to meet because just cold emailing, I got a response back from Cox Media, which is like Power 95, Power 90, 94.5, right? Star 94.5, pardon me. So I had an interview with them. That one eventually didn't work out, did a whole process and all that. Thought I was going to get over there, but that didn't work out. But the following week, keep in mind, I was mad, like down on myself, like, damn, who knows if I'm going to get another opportunity.
Right.
iHeart called me the following week. And I just started from there. I was still in school. And I just started doing promotion work. So promotion basically is, you start from the bottom. When you go to these different events, you see people with the tents, you're going to put the tents up. You're going to be giving out the merch. You're going to be doing social media. You're going to be doing front desk. You're going to be doing all the grunt work. But the good thing about that is that you're going to meet so many people around the building that are not just towards what you want to do. Obviously, I wanted to be in hip hop and R&B, but you work with the rock station, you learn who the higher ups are. And once you see that grind, you feel me? That's when people start to see what's going on and you put yourself in positions, capitalize on that. I started an alt-right radio, alt-right news radio because they needed a phone screener. I say, yo, I got you. And they held me down, you know what I mean? That's where I got my whole thing started. And slowly but surely work my way up. And then, here we are. I'm on hip hop and R&B once again, and I also do sports. So I do two of my major two loves in terms of just life, sports and music, and it was all from the bottom, I should say.
I love it, man. I love that you were able to like literally take your passion and not only work for it, but manifest like this is what I want, this is what I'm going to go do, and this is what I'm going to go get. So, and you do it so well. That's how I know you love it. You feel me? Because if anybody's in it, been in your vibe or your energy, like a lot of people don't interview when it come to like some of these artists. Don't know how to talk about a subject. Don't do the research. Like none of that. You feel me? You can tell it makes sense that you have the journalism background for real, of how in depth you go with things. You feel me?
Yeah.
And it makes a difference with everything for real, man.
No, 100%. And also, I always break it down or try to break it down to just the bare basics, right? Because me, I'm just very interested in the human experience. So it's like I'm genuinely interested in the individuals I get to interview, right? So even the ones, you know how it is, sometimes you have to do certain things that you don't want to do, but at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer in putting your best foot forward
Right.
because I would expect the same thing or I would hope to get the same thing from someone else. So I try to give people the best experience possible because I understand me, I would want that as well.
That's real. That's real. So we talk about the experience, and I know it because I've witnessed it. But between your three different stations, can you explain like what's a day in a life for you? What exactly are you doing when you say you're a radio host?
Oh man, we got enough time? Cause so like it's kind of chopped up, right? So the sports talk radio 96.9 the game. I'm on Monday through Friday, and that's live radio from 6 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., right? And so that means pre-production. I'm in the studio by like 4 o'clock in the morning around there, and then we going all the way. So the show ends by 9:30, but I'm usually still there until like 10:30, 11, doing stuff, putting podcasts up, blogs, doing all the things, right? And then I get to come home to my beautiful wife and my child. I'm a father, you know what I mean, newly minted
Yes.
father, so I get to spend time with them while she works from home as well. And thankfully, the beauty of radio is just the way it's been able to morph, right? Because as I said, the Monday through Friday thing in the morning, that's live radio. Thankfully for this, I'm able to pre-record in terms of my night show. So on 104.5 The Beat, I'm on Monday through Friday as well, 7 p.m. To 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. But I'm able to pre-record. So right now I'm live. You feel me? People think I'm live. We wilding out. Yo, it's wind down. You know what I mean? When we really dropping gems right here. So in between time, I do my stuff in the morning. I try to unplug, be a father, be a husband, get a workout in, and then grind the rest out towards the nighttime. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how the daily structure of my day goes.
That's a lot, man. I didn't even know you did so much of all that. You feel me?
And we're not
But
even talking the weekends, you feel me? The weekends is a different beast, but
you taking over all the airwaves, yo. Everybody needs you. So when I see you a lot, I see you with the artists who are like out here breaking records for real, for real. You feel me? Like anybody who's kind of going through the motion of going different markets and pushing themselves, I see you with them. With me knowing that, well, first, let's just do a quick rundown. Who are some of your favorite artists that you've met, I would say, this year in 2024?
oh man. Oh man. Listen, Callie was one that I love talking to Callie. Callie was dope. She's on a roll right now. Lakia's one that I met. I was able to have a conversation with. Link back up with Fred Obang. Great, always great to see him. I'm kind of blanking. You know how it is, like when you speak to so many people. Um, the one that I wish, this is really random, but Boss Man D'Lo, he's been in the town multiple times, and I was busy each and every time. That's one brother that I have not been able to link up with, but I need to because his story
Coming
is so
back next
crazy.
month. He come back next month.
And he been tapped in with us, you feel me? And I haven't been able to really link up with him. But yeah, Libra Jolie, I feel like I'm mentioning all the ladies because I love when I get to interview the ladies because they have such a great story, you know what I mean? But yeah, those are some of the artists that just come off the top of my head that I was able to talk to this year.
It's a nice ass Rolodex, bro. So what I feel like you can see both sides. You are literally working the artists who having these records now, but then we're also hearing this whole discourse with this digital age that like people know we don't need radio anymore. There's no importance of radio. what do you see, or how do you see the role of radio with helping artists today and breaking their music into the industry?
I see radio as, so I try to categorize it, right?
Mhm.
And I think Ebro said this from Hot 97 a long time ago. It's like minor league and it's major league. Like when you get to radio, that's when you know you've made the major leagues, right? Especially if you're in rotation. Not only are you marketing your stuff and your music to, the people who you market to, but also it's going out to everybody. You know what I mean? And especially depending on the time. If you were in during prime time, like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., you really made it because everybody who's anybody is listening at that time, all sorts of walks of life, right? So I think it serves as something that is definitely attainable and one of those end goals that it's like, yo, once again, once I get there, I know it's lit because you're getting thousands upon thousands of people that hear you. And mind you, of course, as you said, with TikTok, with Reels, you can get all that done yourself, right? The way you market yourself. But when you have terrestrial radio, and things are so segmented now. You have to pay for your subscription on Spotify. You got to pay for Apple Music. You got to pay for your Netflix. You got to pay for your HBOs. To be able to just tune into a radio for free, every call comes with it. You feel me? Damn near the iHeartRadio app is free. All this stuff is free. It just gives radio a leg up. And that is a big conversation. It is true. Like when you look at the numbers in terms of advertising, it has gone down since COVID. But in terms of like listenership, it's
Mhm.
still there because it's one of the easiest mediums to tune in and listen to, you know what I mean? And to get your music out there. So that's the way I see radio today specifically, just that end all be all. And once you made it, like, you really made it to the major leagues.
Absolutely agree. I've always said respect the DJs. They the ones who really control the music, and it's not really the
Right.
algorithm, it's the people. But everybody thinks it's a whole digital age thing, and not realizing that we're still sending our clients to do radio runs. You feel me?
Yes, it's research, man. Algorithm, yes, I understand that. And with the advent of AI and all that, I'm sure we'll get into that later on. I'm sure that will become more into the radio industry. But things that people still have PPM meters, like we're measuring what you're listening to, how long have you listened to it. There's research that goes into the clocks that we have, the programming that we have, right? So remember all the conversations like, yo, I keep on hearing the same song multiple times. Every time, that's because it's been researched. You feel me? People listen for a certain amount of time for a certain number of times, right? So they want to hit you every time you come back into that call, you're gonna hear that not like us. They want to hear all these different things. You feel me? So, but these are the things that not a lot of people understand. And understandably so, I didn't realize that either. But when you break it down, that's why I say there's a difference between, algorithm and major league, because once you hit on radio and you get into rotation, people are really messing with you because we're getting the research from real people.
Absolutely. So I heard you say terrestrial radio, and I know what it is. But can you explain to the people exactly what is terrestrial radio and maybe how it differs from other types of radio?
Oh yeah, just like FM, AM stations. Like obviously you have like different like wavelengths that go out through these different towers that we have. That's like the FM frequency. AM is more through the ground. That's why sometimes it's more, I guess you could say, dependable depending on where you're at.
Mhm.
Um, those are just like the main ones. That's where, like, when you think of radio, that's exactly what it is, right? Compared to anything else that you tune into, is literally radio waves, right? Broadcasting these radio waves, and it's crazy. You get to log in and hear us. Like, it's as simple as I could put it.
Definitely, definitely. And just to geek out to add on top of that. So the main thing I want a lot of people in here to understand is that, like, and which I'll get into and see if you also understand that side too. Radios, there are different types of radios, and different types of radios pay different things. You feel me? So like terrestrial radio gets tracked and monitored by PROs. Stuff that you hear on like Sirius, XM, all that, that gets paid out by sound.
Right.
It's two different types of radio, two different companies, two different checks. If you're not making sure that you signed up and taking care of both, we're missing money for real, for real. So now talking money on the radio side, do you know by chance, like, how much do people get paid by having their music on the radio? And is it more than how much they get paid per stream?
Very good question. Because I don't have the exact numbers on me. I don't know. I'm not going to say something that I'm not going to spit out a number there, but I can definitely tell you, to go to the last point that you said, that number that you get per stream is super egregious, and I'm surprised that we haven't figured something out to rectify that situation because it's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane that you need to get whatever it is, 10,000 streams and you get $1, whatever the case is, right? And Jay, I don't know if you have the numbers on hand, which by the way, real quick, I'm glad that you brought up the difference between the different radios. I completely just in the moment did not even think of satellite radio and all that. But these are the things that we need to understand, especially if you're an artist, because there are different ways for you to get your music out there, and there are different patterns. And it's very important for you to do your research and to speak to people like Jay to get this sort of information because it's very rare, as I mentioned earlier, number one. And number two, it's information that we need to know. We need to be on with this sort of info in order for us to move forward. We have to know about our medium so that we can get the best benefits from it, right? And Jay, you just do an incredible job at that. I just wanted to bookend it by saying that. My bad.
I appreciate you, man. I get tired of people not knowing. So now we just got to tell people over and over again because it's ways to do it. They just don't know. So it's just I feel like it's our job to teach them how to do it. The more that people know, if we teach them how to fish, they'll eat for life for real, for real. People just don't like teaching folks how to fish, but I mean we different type thing.
100%.
So no, we got a room like I feel of independent artist type thing, right? And I've heard some people, not anybody specifically in here, but I've heard some folks say, "Well, I'm an independent artist," and they won't play my music, right?
Yeah.
Why are some reasons, if they are, why the music isn't being played? And I'm kind of baiting this question because I know like 75% of the reason for real, and it's nothing
Yeah.
about like hate or anything. It's just it's smallest censorship, right? But in your eyes, are you guys or not only do you I already know the answer because I've seen the shit happen over and over again, but do you
Yeah.
guys play indie music? And if not, what are some reasons why it might not happen?
Right. So great question. Once again, it kind of goes to what we were speaking on before, just the difference in radio today, right? Because people think of the radio, yeah, they play music and all that. Really, what radio is, it's a marketing company. You understand? They're using the songs to get you to listen, to sell ads to you, advertisers, all these sort of things, right? So I say that to say back in the 90s, even early 2000s, before it really started to switch, it was a lot easier for you to get your songs on the radio, right? And like obviously we're not talking about payola or anything like that, which basically is, people paying for play. That's illegal, right? We're talking about just regular going on the radio, getting your stuff played. It was way different then because it wasn't as monetized as it is today. And as I said earlier, it's all about research. It's all about research. So when you tune in to 1045 to beat from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., and then you listen from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m., you're going to hear different structures, right? And depending on what time of day you listen to, you might hear different songs, right? As I mentioned earlier, that power like time between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., you're going to hear a lot of those greatest hits that are the hottest songs out right now because research has shown that's when the most people are listening, right? Whether you're driving in traffic, you're heading to the crib, you're coming back home from work, whatever the case is. So a lot of times there's no wiggle room around that time in order to get your song played if you're a up and coming artist. Most of the times when that happens is later on, right? So maybe like that 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. time slot is usually when you'll hear a lot of songs being tested out. So those will either be songs that are up and coming that are maybe bubbling right now, but they don't have enough research. So they're like, yo, let's put this out there just to see what's going on. You mentioned like up and coming artists. That'll be like the perfect opportunity. If I had my show from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m., that's the perfect opportunity. Like, yo, listen in. Right now we get to play your joints and really get it out there and test the waters, right? So once again, it just comes out to research. That's why you don't get to hear these local artists in that time frame, but we do try to give as much possibility at those later times. The other difference is mix shows. That's another one. So, if you have a mix show at like 9 p.m., whatever the case is, you're gonna hear like the Suicide Squad over here, 1045 to be with Matty Ice and all of them. They'll play Mook Boy, they'll play all the joints, you feel me? All the joints that are high in the streets. You listen to like DJ Exclusive City on Sundays. He's playing all the R&B and soca joints. Like it's different vibes, right? So mix shows, you can get away with it. and also shows like I have. Like my thing that I love with my shows is that I'm able to showcase people from around the town. You feel me? So obviously, if I'm interviewing Jay and Jay got her new single out, we gonna play that joint on our show multiple times. You feel me? And those are the different ways that you can get your songs on the radio, which is why it is important to just believe in community and be a part of the community, because that's your way in, right? Because if I play your song and people are really messing with it and we're getting some conversations around, playing that record, a lot of times it can happen. The perfect conversation, the perfect example is Isaiah Falls, right? And I haven't met him yet, Jay. Hello. I haven't met him yet, but he was one of those that's been bubbling with like G Blizz and all them, like the whole squad making great music. And just the other day, I'm recording my show. I think this was like 7 to 8 p.m. Isaiah's in rotation. And I was so proud. I was so proud
Wow. Yes.
because once again, you just start from the bottom. You do what you do, you grind, you build a community, you build your sound, and radio will come to you. You know what I mean? Radio will come to you. And I think that's the main takeaway, because I see so many people, and we're getting off the rails here. We'll bring it back.
Nah,
But
we on them, man. We on.
um, I get so many people that come up to me like, yo, I want my song on the radio. And I'm like, all right, so what do you plan to gain if you get your song on the radio? Like, oh, I just want people to hear it. Yeah, but like, what's your plan? What's your game plan after that? A lot of people just don't have a plan, number one. And number two, they just want it for the clout. You feel me? Yo, tune in 104.5 to beat, which is cool, but you have to be able to build from that.
Mhm.
And you see it all day. You feel me? You get popping on TikTok. Look at Tommy Richmond. You feel me? Been making music for years upon years.
Yes,
He
yes.
pops off with this one joint on TikTok, and now he in regular rotation all across the country. He capitalizes on that by dropping another single like a week or two after that, and now he has his album dropping, right? So I say all that to say, if you just stay on your grind, you do your research, you stay true to yourself, the radio and all these different publications and organizations and playlists, they gonna come to you.
Definitely agree. I feel like I can attest to it from being on the other side of seeing Isaiah Falls, right? You feel me? Like, so
Back.
you seeing it and throwing it in now. I remember we in June now. It had to be, I don't know, February, March. You feel me? Going over to the lair, which is where, Blizz, and shout out to the whole luxury lane, all them. That's where they cook up at. And this is what we do sometimes. We just, yo, Jay, come through. We just need to, like, we got to figure it out. And sitting there and just being like, hearing a song and being like, that's going to be on radio, bro.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the summer hit if it's just pushed the right way. And again, seeing him just now, he listened, he applied what he needed for him, he was consistent, and now
Yes.
look at it. You feel me? Like the project, I think his project drops in like July, but I'm telling you, the song is gonna be everywhere. But like you said, it was him just being consistent, but having a plan. You feel me? Like I watch these kids for real put plans together and strategically. We're gonna do it like this. We're gonna drop the content like this. We're gonna do this concert. They planned everything. So I feel like a lot of people just they roll the dice when it comes to this industry and try to have
Yeah.
success and just being like, if I can look cloudy, it's gonna work for real. Not realizing when
Cloudy.
it's real, man. They looking cloudy, right? But you got
Yeah.
other people who again, it works because I seen the groundwork. I seen them pushing the same joint. Like, yo, we need subscribers. We want to make sure we got the people. We want to make sure we got everybody email address. Cause I'm like, and they applied it. So they got the people. And the people is what got them the radios because they weren't worried about just looking cloudy for real. For
Yeah.
real.
I'm telling you, I know it's a journey, all my artists in here, but it's a labor of love, obviously. But if you stick to your craft once again, because and I'm sure we'll touch on this later, but relationships are so important. Like once again, I always go down to the seed of who we are, which is human beings. We all have emotions, we all experience things, you feel me? So relationships are so important because Isaiah, once again, I haven't met him a day in my life, but I heard the song. I know Blizz, obviously. I know all y'all, but it's just good music. So whenever we're having meetings or whatever, I'm like, yo, have y'all heard this record? You feel me? Like, what's going on with research? Like, what's because this is a record, you know what I mean? So just conversations like that, getting your name into these different rooms that you may not even know you're in there because you're just busy grinding. I feel that's exactly how you should be, right? Because mind you, yeah, your artistry comes first, right? You create what you love, and you know the goal is for people to attach themselves to it, right? But your second goal, you're also a marketer. You have to be able to market yourself. That's basically what a single is, what a song is. You're marketing what you can do. Yeah, you're making people feel these certain things with your songs and jam out, have a good time, boom. But you're also showing them what you can do. So always keep that in mind because, you know, if someone like myself who has a not only a mix show, have my own show on the weekends and during, you know, prime time, you know, I can hear something tomorrow and I'm like, yo, I've never heard about you a day in my life, but I really like the song and I want to put a spotlight on you. It's really that simple. I could be like, yo, come up to the studio, let's chop it up, have an interview. So not only are you going to get obviously the social media aspect of it, but we're also going to play your song. We're going to get you out there. And that's sort of marketing you can't pay for. You know what I mean? All that is organic, all that is relationship, and all that is just you putting your work in. I can't tell you how many people come up to me like, yo, like how much can I get? I don't take no money, bro. Like it's all about relationships. Once again, if you're a good person, like we can have that convo. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'll listen to the music if it's not there. We can have a conversation. I have no problem. I've been in different recording sessions, you know, asking all the different questions. Like, all right, so why did you choose to do this here? Like kind of like that A&R work unofficially. You feel me? Um, but it's all about relationships, y'all. I'm gonna hammer that home until this whole talk is done. You know what I mean?
It's true. It's true. I feel like my whole how we met started off relationships, but I feel like
Yes.
how I first started in radio too was a relationship. You feel me? Like DJ Dr. Doom from Jacksonville.
Sounds super familiar. Sounds super familiar, but I don't think I know him.
I gotta make sure I gotta introduce you to him one day too, because that's a whole nother level y'all can go to. But like that's how I started my
Do it.
radio connection for real, for real. This other dude named Theo Brown, I'm gonna put you on with him too if you haven't heard of him. But Theo, when I first started, was the radio man, right? So that's I feel like maybe that's why radio was so important to me, is because that's how I was like taught, if you would. I'm watching this man every time he was working. When I first was with him, he was working with Atlantic. So when an Atlantic
Copy.
artist drops that same week he's on a radio one with him. And it's not just no like one station. It's like, yo, they just did 50 stations in like a week. You feel me? That's the type of run they were on.
Yes.
And again, a week later, it's in every hour. It's playing. And it's not like no small people. Like, yo, I watched them drop Missy for one of her joints when she first came back. And then radio run her type thing. You feel me? So it's like, there's no way that some of the biggest stars in the world are still utilizing this platform and people think that it's not important, for real, for real. But I say all that to say relationships with people like Kelly, with people like Doom. One of my strongest relationships in radio was with the advertising lady who got me
Yes.
anything and everything that I needed for I was working with a club. I had to do overnights. She made sure my slots was right. But then at the same time, when so and so came into town, Jay, I need you to come meet this person. Come to this concert so you can come meet this. And that's, these are how our Rolodexes started growing to where we're at now, for real, off of building relationships.
Yes.
None of this was money. I couldn't pay for certain tickets even if I wanted to get the access that I got, for real, for real. It was all off of rapport. So I want
Yeah.
to piggyback off Kelly and just push that building genuine rapport with people versus just trying to, like, I get it. Some people just try to pay for everything. Sometimes that's not the route for everybody. And I promise you'll get stronger relationships and ties with people with just building genuine rapport with them, learning them as
Yes.
people, learning them for who they are, not always asking for stuff, for real, for real. Like I even make sure that I ask myself, hey, listen, I'm definitely about to hit you and ask you because somebody hit me and was like they coming in town for a run. But how are you though? How is the
Yes.
family, for real, for real? When do you want to go grab lunch one day just so you can get out the house? Like you gotta treat people like they're human and not always try to use them for everything. Because people remember that. You feel me? Our phone ring all day long. People asking us for stuff. So the moment that somebody don't ask us for nothing, just ask us how we are as a human, these are the people that we start appreciating, for real, for real. And when you start building those
Yes.
rapports, then folks is literally giving stuff to you and giving you opportunities that,
Give
again,
you looks.
money couldn't pay for some of these looks that we've been able to like just throw to each other. I feel like in our circle and in our squad, because it rolls so quick. That's why the day when you was like, yo, MK hit me, I'm like, Lord, this like the third person this week that was like, yo, MK then she tied stuff together. I'm like, yo, and we don't even be knowing about it. You feel me? We get a call from somebody else trying to figure out why we got this call, and it's somebody who we ain't talked to in months. put in place, but it's all because we relationship people. We ain't even got to talk to you every day, every month. We ain't even gonna tell
Yep.
you go in the alley. It's just happening. But when you build real relationships, these are how we are able to move mountains and make things that we want to accomplish happen for real, for real.
Yeah, and that's perfect. And like two things, like for me, what kind of switched my mentality was, as you build as an artist, as you grow up, and I'm not sure like everybody's on different levels in this room, right? But one thing that I'm cognizant of 100% is I understand that it's the position I hold and it's not me, right? So I guarantee you, if I'm fired tomorrow, if I'm fired tonight, nobody's hitting me up. You feel me? Because I'm not on the radio anymore, right? Yeah, like the Jays, like we're gonna have business outside of this, but just specifically people trying to get on the radio. It's specifically because of the position that I hold at the moment, right? So I think that's important to remember, whether you're an artist or whatever the case is, you may get bugged by all this stuff that comes with it. It's the position you hold. Like at the end of the day, we are blessed to be here. We're blessed to do what we love, whether we at the high end or the low end. Like we're all grinding to get to where we need to, right? Whatever your definition of success is, we're all grinding together. So that's number one. Just understand it's the position you hold, not just the person you are, right? Number two, just going back to the relationships, like through iHeart, like obviously you get a couple national names that come through the pipeline, but for me, the majority of the quote unquote big names that I've had are from relationships, right? So, like you asked earlier about different artists that I've interviewed this year specifically, like, and I'm just thinking about it throughout this whole time. Like 310 Baby is someone who's popping OD with the Soak City joint. Young
Right.
kid, just graduated high school. That's one that came through an A&R, right? Bill Bellamy was in town, man, one of my mentors, and he didn't even know I was a mentor. You feel me? You could be a mentor and not even meet someone because you take the gems that they've given you throughout years, right? That came through relationships, right? Duran Bernard is another person, incredible R&B artist that I love, that is a walking legend in my eyes. That boy is incredible. Relationship. Sleepy Hollow from New York, rapper from New York. All these things came through relationships. You feel me? It's all about, once again, human experience. And I know like a lot of people, and we are dropping gems here, obviously, but I think people try to overcomplicate things. But once again, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. Always keep that in mind as you're pushing. Trust me, I know you're trying to get on. I understand that. We're all, once again, trying to get to where we need to, what we consider success. But just remember, we're all individuals and people at the end of the day. And you may not see money now, but guaranteed, as Jay just said, the money's going to come in and more opportunities are going to come in. And that will lead you to where you need to. So if you're moving through this industry, this nasty ass industry, um, just pure-hearted, intentions pure, and you understand what you really want out of this, you're going to win. That's how I look at it.
Absolutely agree. Agree. So we got folks out here. A lot of folks want to know, and I think with not only you having a journalism background, but knowing sometimes the professionalism that is needed when you are trying to present yourself, right?
Mhm.
People want to build a rapport. People want to pitch themselves. They want to pitch their music for interview and rotation consideration, whether it's mixtape, whether it's mix show, whether it's just a random play, whatever. What would you say are some do's and don'ts, excuse me, of them pitching their own music? Whether it's how do they send the DM, how do they send the email, what should they have attached, what should they say, what should they
Mhm.
not say? Give them a little guidance on how to even start that rapport, if you would.
Don't pull up on no one in the club like, yo, I got the. No, we're not having that conversation. All right. A simple dap, a quick intro is great. And maybe we can follow up later with an email, with a DM, whatever the case is. That first, because I can't tell you how many times I'll be outside and people try to do that. It's like, not right now. Not right now. Please. This isn't the place. The proper way to do it, once again, not to sound like a broken record, but this is all truth, is just relationships. For instance, we're in this talk right now, Jules sessions. We dropping jewels and having fun, right? We can just exchange conversations, exchange IG, whatever the case is, start the conversation from there, right? That's number one. Number two, just continuing to build on that relationship, right? Because I think that's very important. It's one thing for me to mess with your music. It's another thing for me to mess with you as a person, you know what I mean? And really see, okay, like this is going somewhere. You really got something and you do seem to have a team around you as well. Whether you're doing that, I'm just saying. Um, so that can definitely help the conversation to get you there, especially on the show. But specifically rotation, keep in mind, I feel like a lot of people think it is very much easy for me to just go in there and just press a magic button and you're on, one time every 2 hours. It just doesn't work like that, right? You have to go through all the different things that we mentioned before. Yeah, you may have a hot record, but it has to be researched. And once again, that all starts with the relationship, whether it's a mix show, a DJ that has a mix show. Yo, bro, like boom, boom, start that conversation, start that relationship, and see if they can slip your record in, whatever the case is. If they rock with it genuinely, they'll throw it in there for the love because they genuinely love the music, right? It always comes down to the relationship. There's nobody on earth that's going to get you on the radio if they don't know you, number one, or number two, if you don't get yourself hot. That's the other way for you to get on, right? Because if you get yourself hot, if you got a trending sound or your song is trending on TikTok, on Reels, as I mentioned before, we gonna come to you. You know what I mean? And you don't have to go to radio to get popping. You know what I mean? I mentioned earlier, it's like the major leagues because you reach so many people, right? But you can get yourself hot by yourself. So that's another way that you can go about it, right? Because once again, this is an advertising industry. If the people are rocking with it, yeah, radio is going to be a little behind unless you're on the mix shows and you're on my show, right? But they gonna ride the wave. They're gonna catch on to the wave either way, and you could work your way to get into rotation once again, like Isaiah did. I'm super proud of that, 100%.
I'm really, really excited about that. Um, I hear a statement from a lot of my rapper guys, right? A lot of my street rapper guys, to be specific. So you already know what kind of mindset we're going on. And I say, all right, when we go to the radio, before we go, and the reason why we normally can't go is your music is not clean, right? Hey, you already know what
Talk
I'm.
to him, Jay.
Let's please explain why, number one, the music has to be clean in order for you to even play it. Number two, how that's probably half of the reason why your music's not being played if you're even sending it to a DJ or a radio host. And three, when you come on for a radio interview, how you were not supposed to curse on air. Please just enlighten them because so many people don't understand why can't I say what I want to say when it comes to the radio.
This is a business. All right. FCC has regulations. You listen to any sort of radio, I don't care where you at, ain't no curses on it. All right. Yeah, you can do maybe, online radio, whatever the case is, right? Apple Music, that's cool. They got their radio station. You can do curses there. But on, as we mentioned, terrestrial radio, they ain't gonna fly. They ain't gonna fly. Satellite radio, you might be able to let it fly. Not here. So it's a business at the end of the day, right? And keep in mind, as I mentioned earlier, we're playing songs for everybody. So you have mothers listening to this, you have kids listening to this. You have to make sure that you are prepared whenever you are coming up here. That's why I mentioned earlier, yeah, we have a relationship, but are you ready to have the spotlight? If not, that's cool. We can have a conversation with your team, see what we can do to get you there and all that. But you have to be able to give me those clean edits, right? You have to be able to control yourself once you come into the studio and have a genuine conversation, right? Because I do feel, on another note, that's one thing that I feel is a super detriment to the hip hop community where people come in. Obviously, a lot of us, we come from the streets. I'm from Spanish Harlem, New York. You feel me? It took me a while to iron out the edges, right? To soften the edges. But when you realize this is a business and this is really what you want to do, you have to be able to put the business over where you came from, who you are. You have to be able to evolve. If you don't evolve, it's not going to happen. Jay, you can speak to it at how many people I've interviewed, whether from your camp or from just from the town, just a year ago, who aren't either just not making music, they got locked up, something else happened, they got dropped from their label. You have to be able to treat this as a business, all right? And just because you think your joint is hot does not mean it deserves to be on the radio. Once again, and I go through life with this mentality. I'm a servant. I'm here to serve y'all here with this conversation. I'm here to serve our listeners. if you go through this whole life like you hot shit, yeah, you may be able to fake it till you make it, but once you make it, people gonna realize the sort of person you are, and it's just not gonna work out. You feel me? So all that to say, just make sure you have your stuff ironed out when you get to the radio. Give me them clean edits. It doesn't mean you have to be like, suit and tied up. Just try to, curb the curses and all that, and then we'll be Gucci. Okay.
Definitely curb the curses. Yeah, clean edits. So advice to anybody who are looking to get their music not only on the radio, but specifically with trying to get in it with people who can even play it, different DJs. DJs are not always at the radio. They at clubs, they at parties, all of that stuff count. If you never heard of
Yes.
a DJ service pack, learn about it, get it, imply it. You feel me? So a DJ service pack is a pack of your tracks, if you would. So you got a clean version, a dirty version, an instrumental, a acapella. If you're going deep, you got an 8-bar intro. You got it's a
Yes.
bunch of different versions, right? So not only do you have all these versions available for anybody to play, because the more versions you have, the more opportunities they have to play, right? So you got a
Mhm.
clean version get played on the radio. You got a dirty version you can get played in the club. You got an acapella version, and the weatherman might be able, or the mixtape, the mix show DJ gonna be able to put your verse over somebody else beat that's popular. You got the acapella, and I mean the weatherman can throw his joint behind you too for real, for real. But then we can also play you at the birthday party for the kid. We can play you at the bar mitzvah if we want to. You feel me? Like you have unlimited opportunities to make sure that you are getting placement versus just having a dirty version. I would also advise for you all to distribute these different versions. Couple reasons why. And if you think I'm lying, go look at Lotto. The last single she put out, she dropped it as a DJ service pack. That's why one of the last singles I put out for a client, we dropped it as a DJ service pack because now you have DSPs, Tidal, Apple,
Yep.
Spotify, who can actually integrate into some of these DJ software. So at one point, Tidal could integrate with Serato. So they're not always
Yep.
downloading your stuff. They pulling it straight from where it's at. So if you have everything available, they're gonna play it. On top of that, when your music is getting played, it needs to be registered. So y'all knew I was gonna put that on there for real, for real. Not only with making sure your music is copywritten, because if you about to blast it out to the radio and to the airwaves, you don't want to put it out there and somebody steal your music, right? But on top of that, when it comes to radio tracking, if you don't have your music registered with the companies who track radio and who track numbers, media base, Luminate, you're not even necessarily going to see your spins when they happen for real, for
Right.
real. So this is exactly what we mean when we say come correct. Any client who I bring to Kelly and we're doing an interview, best believe all of that is already done for real, for real. And if it's not, that's why we not going. And that's why the DJ is not playing y'all music, is because you're not providing the correct formats for them to be able to play your music for real, for real. So it's not that they hating on y'all. It's not that, they don't want to see you shine. You literally not providing them with the tools that they need to be able to do their job, yo.
Yes. And it's happened multiple times for me. And mind you, I'm expecting that, right? I'm expecting when you come in, you understand kind of the tricks of the trade. So if you're coming to the radio station and you want me to play your song, I'm just guessing you have a clean edit. So multiple times since I've been doing this, I've been on air like with my own show for probably like 2.5, 3 years. There's been multiple instances where we'll do the interview, everything sounded good. I bet. Send me the clean edit, huh? Yeah, send me the clean edit. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? And but that's what separates, the people who are treating this as a business. And mind you, it's a lot of times, you may be brand new to this, you may have jumped into an opportunity, and that's different, right? But most of the time, these people have been in the industry for quite some time, right? And just the fact that you came to me with no clean edit, there's been multiple times where number one, they crammed last minute to get it to me. And that puts more stress on me because I have to go in there and like move some stuff around in order to play your song. But there have been multiple instances where I just wasn't able to play the song. I was like, yo, Slime, like, I don't know what to tell you. You know what it was. You ain't give me the record, so I'm not going to spin it. We'll play your interview and all that, but they're not going to hear it on the radio. So you have to be able to cross those T's and dot those I's before you get there in order for this whole thing to go off smoothly.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I want to go back just a tad because I feel like I had this personal issue with you with one of my artists when it comes to not necessarily etiquette and not always about curving and cursing, which that is needed, but being able to actually speak and tell your story. So again, I'll use one of my own for example, and I won't even Mr. McFlurry. Now I remember, I don't know if you remember when he came, but it was very much short answers at time, very short with everything. What are some advice that you have for artists when it comes to like how to actually be able to tell their story and let people know about themselves without being so short-minded and realizing that they in the interview? Oh, we might have lost Kelly. Oh, his power just went out. All good, all good. We're gonna have Kelly back in, let's say, a couple minutes. But I feel like we only had like two questions left. So if y'all starting to get questions, let's do this. Start dropping them in the chat. That way when he come back, we can be ready and have questions ready for him when it comes to anything you might want to know. What's your take on Jay? What's your take on artists telling their story? So pretty much I was going to this example. So one of the artists that I work with, right? This was probably one of his earlier interviews that we had did. He's a rap artist and he just was very short with all of his answers, right? So the whole thing is you have this platform, you're on this radio to be able to tell your story, right? Tell people where you're from, your inspirations, all type of things, right? And you have somebody who's literally interviewing you. So they're asking you these questions and they're giving you these opportunities to tell your story. And the artist who I was with at the time, like, say for instance, they like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I can see you real hot in the streets. And the artist just replied back like, yeah. And it's like, oh, come on, man. We gotta get deeper than that. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? Well, you know, what's your inspiration behind it with this music? And it's like, you know, I'm just trying to make it. And it's like, it's gotta be more to that. You feel me? You have this platform, you have these airways that thousands of people can be hearing you from, but you don't know how to like speak what you're doing, what you're saying. You really can't get your whole message out there. Then there's a whole situation of you got a lot of people who mumble and they really can't enunciate what they're saying for real. And it all comes down to like media training for real. Like a lot of people probably hear about it, they don't take it serious. But there's a training aspect when it comes to speaking with media, with knowing how to make sure that you're plugging your key things. You feel me? If you're here for pushing a single, why are you not talking about the story behind how the single came about and who was involved with it, and you know why are you excited about it, why are you pushing this single? Like you're not realizing the certain things that you're supposed to do when it comes to plugging yourself. I don't know how many people I've had that come on the radio and pretty much forget to even put, you know, this is my Instagram page, this is my website, this is where you can find you at. It's thousands of potential people that's listening to you, and you're not properly pushing your own self and pushing your own brand. So I feel like when it comes to getting radio, like just be prepared to push yourself, push your brand. That's why we always say like people have to literally be prepared for radio, and a lot of folks just are not. So it's not a situation again where people are hating on anybody or anybody's, you know, wanting to not play you or not support you. Some people are just not ready for this opportunity, whether it's they don't have the clean music, it's not registered, they don't know how to push their brand, they don't know how to speak. You got to be prepared for all of these things in order for the opportunity to come to you. More so about prices and coming in. Radio not supposed to cost, man. That's payola. Overseas radio before coming to the States. Who said that? Joseph, what you mean? Elaborate for me a little bit. You can you can come on camera and elaborate if you need to, man. What are the best resources to find about copyright and registering your music royalties? JYokoEntertainment.com. But I mean on some real, you can like just Google it, y'all. Everything's on Google. I'm not trying to say it to be an asshole, but you can literally type what are my music royalties? It'll break down what your music royalties are. I got another site I'll get to too. There's a website called Go Clip. It is a it's a free site. I'm dropping in the chat.
Knock,
Anything you
knock.
think about music, you can learn. Who's that?
That's Joe, radio overseas.
What about radio overseas? What you mean?
That's the okay. So I have my artist in Africa and UK. We just dropped a couple of tracks over there, and we are doing a test run before we come to the States.
Hmm. What exactly you trying to figure out?
No, we're building her fan base overseas first, and then coming here.
So you trying to figure out if that's a good idea? You trying to figure out how you get paid from it? What's your question?
Oh no, no, no! Songs are registered, everything's taken care of, tracking's in place. It's how many people have been doing something like that? Have you done anything with any of your artists, starting them in another country with any type of promotions, radio play before
Oh,
bringing them here?
well, one of my clients is his label is based in Sierra Leone, so they
There you
do
go.
African markets, if you would. He just hit me the other day because we got to get him enrolled in like PRS type stuff because they're getting play in the UK just because it kind of bounced around, if you would. So none of his artists are actually in the United States. He's in the United States, but his artists are not. So yeah, I deal with international stuff a lot just because we got clients that are kind of all over the place. But I can attest that I've definitely heard some people who rather test their songs internationally first before coming to the States, just because it picks up a little more organically than the States do. And again, the States are more of a marketing business market type thing, if you will, where some other countries are more they play it because they like it or they play it because that's what's hot type thing.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Same thing. So, all right, no, that's good. It's a great play for sure to get it going.
For sure. Listen, I feel like if you can get in the UK, you can make anything happen.
Lord have mercy. Check, check.
Hey, he's back.
Yo, I heard that pop. I was like, everybody froze. I was like, damn, it's over. My bad, John.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good. Welcome to Florida. For folks who don't know, this is what we deal with every single day, man.
It's funny, just like you said, it is Florida, but this hasn't happened to me, so it's funny. But continue, whatever you were talking about.
You go, you go. Welcome back from the tsunami. I got
Thank
what's
you.
going on right now, type thing.
It's the wave, baby. You know what I mean,
Yeah,
a little
see, you
wave.
got the way. This what happened. This what happened. Nah, man, but I was actually giving them kind of a story in the background, if you would. Well, one time we had Mr. McFlurry there, right? And I won't say no more.
Mr. McFlurry, the blender man himself. Yo, TT, we'll see you, man. Thank you for pulling up, TT.
TT, I appreciate you. She's super dope. I hope y'all got like her social media and
Oh,
if
she
so,
part of me.
please, like find it. She's dope. But we had Mr. McFlurry there once, and I feel like we might have bought him twice. But I feel like maybe the first time we bought him, he was very stiff, right?
Right.
So, what is some advice that you have when it comes to artists, like being able to actually utilize this platform when it comes to you have thousands of people listening, tell your story?
Yes. Yes. Not to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Nah, you good, you good, you good. But I was gonna give an example, like how he literally, you would ask him, like, "Yo, I heard you hot in the streets," and he'll just the first time be like, "Yep," and then kind of just sit back and chill for real. So how can they avoid doing that and actually capitalize on that time?
Just going back to the human experience, I just think you need to realize exactly what you just said, Jay. Like this is going to be broadcasted to thousands upon thousands of people, not only on radio, but keep in mind, obviously, we have the social media aspect of it, right? So is that how you want to market yourself? I said it earlier, you are an artist, but you're also a marketer. You're marketing yourself, your music, all that, right? And once again, I understand I come from that cloth. It took me a minute to be comfortable with who I am today and be able to speak, right? So not everybody's gonna have it, but at least have the mentality to try, right? As you said, I can't tell you how many times it's not just artists. Like I've had even business individuals who are making like $1 million businesses. They just don't know how to speak to people. They may have someone else do it for them, right? It depends on the type of person you are, but if you're in this industry, right, you have to be able, let me turn this on. You have to be able to communicate your message and show people exactly who you are, because people will see an interview and rock with you just because you cool. You feel me? Like they may not have even heard your record, right? This is completely different and not even hip hop and R&B, but there's a pop artist by the name of Chapel Roan right now that's going crazy, and she not even on like major radio like that out here, at least, right? And I hadn't even heard her records up to that point. I heard maybe a couple TikTok sounds, but I saw how she was in interviews, and that's what attached me to her. I'm like, oh no, she's dope. So keep that in mind. You're gonna have so many different people from different walks, lives, and creeds watching this. How do you want to market yourself? What are you saying in this interview that are going to get people to not only listen to your music, but really attach themselves to you? Because that's where the money comes in, right? It's one thing to be streaming your music, it's one thing to be doing all this stuff, but when you really garner that listenership and that following, and you're able to pack out houses, bring people out to see you perform, that's when the real money starts. You feel me? So just keep in mind, how do you want people to see you? Be receptive as well, because I understand there's some questions that may trigger people, and you react different ways, but simple things like Jay said, like, yo, bro, like, it's hot out here, bro. Like, you got the whole place. What's going on? Like, how did it? Yeah. All right, expand. Like, why? Like, what are we doing here? You know, like, my time. I'm very valuable on my time. You feel me? And if I'm giving you my time, it means that I'm really rocking with you, and I believe in what's going on here. So if I don't get that energy reciprocated, it's like, all right, cool. We can end this right now. That's no problem. We don't got to do no interview. I don't got to play no record for you. You feel me? Like, so what do you want to do? Keep that in mind.
Agreed. Agreed. Um, I'm gonna throw one more in there, which might be a little, I don't know what level this might be, but let's put it like this. When I first started or got my kind of taste when it came to radio, I was advised early, right? Because my first time in radio, I was pushing, I was managing a club, right? So I got in for advertising, because how else do you push a nightclub? You put the overnights on type thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the person who was helping me do my ads, this is crazy even talking about this, she put me on to one of the first artists that I started working with, for real, right? So she was
Right.
like, "Y'all got somebody great. I think y'all should work, da 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 da." She came to me and she said, "You guys should run ads on the radio." Yeah, at first I looked at
Yes.
it crazy, and I was like, why? I don't get it, right? She like, because you're a business and you're a brand. And how do you start building rapport with people who you want kind of favors from? You pay them, right? So the way she broke it down to me was just like everybody else does. In order to, you can't pay a DJ. You're not supposed to. That's called payola, right? But if you build rapport because you're buying advertising, that's not payola at all. You're just pushing your brand and you happen to be building rapport. So in this digital age, but also I feel like I don't see a lot of people advertising when it comes to radio anymore to push their singles and their projects. How do you feel about ads when it comes to using them as a way to be able to push a project?
It's a cheat code. It's a cheat code that not a lot of people know. And you mentioned it earlier as well, your relationship with advertisers specifically, and where that goes, right? Because people obviously, me, I'm in front of the camera, I'm on the radio, but the real magic is the salespeople, the advertisers, all the people that make things go, where the money is, right? Because yes, you're 100% right. There's nothing wrong with, buying out some ad space. Obviously you discuss what that fee would be, but it's kind of like a trade-off, right? And you can get your stuff up on that side of things. And I think it's one of those situations where, yeah, it's there, but people don't realize it's an option. That's why I feel it's a cheat code, because not a lot of people know about it. Not a lot of people discuss it. And even that, like, I know of it, and I've definitely put individuals in the place to speak to salespeople and advertisers. I've never went through that whole process myself, if that makes sense, right? But I do understand that that is something that you can do. So I put people on to where they need to go, right? And that's another way that you can definitely get your music out there, or whatever you want. Once again, it's a business. You can advertise anything, but obviously you're artists in here, so you will focus on that. The same way you hear like club nights and all that, you hear the radio like, yo, boom, like it's going down at the beach on this side. It's the same thing. Like you're an artist, you can market yourself that way.
I painted it for a reason, folks. I'm trying to give you a cheat code so you understand. Like, this is, listen, I bought radio ads, and again, next thing I got meet and greets to see Maxwell. I said, like, I was getting all
Yes.
kind of stuff, right? But on top of that, again, once I figured it out, we started running ads for the radio. We had the artists record and do a drop, especially if it's in a city that they from, and some people might know their voice or know the sound type thing. Yo, what's up? Is this? I'm got a new single coming out, X, Y, and Z. Make sure y'all stream it, Shazam this right now. They play 15, 30, maybe it all depends on how long you have
Yeah,
it.
it depends on what you get. Yeah.
Feel me? But normally you can get a 30-second. You feel me? You say a couple of words, 5 seconds, boom, let the song run for like 15 seconds so people can Shazam it real quick and hear it and boom, end it off type thing. That's a quick way to be able to get people to realize, like, yo, this is my track for real. But again, now you're building a rapport because you're not just a artist who is asking somebody to play their music. You're now a client of theirs, right? You now
Yes.
do business for real. So not only do you have better relationship ties, you're able to just do a little bit more when it comes to expanding yourself. You feel me? And on top of that, how many people are going to hear your music? If your music is set up to be Shazam, how many people are going to be able to hear that record for real? And overnights are the cheapest of ads for real, because they overnights for real. So prices vary. You need to talk to your ad people. So call the radio stations that's in your city. Ask them to talk to the ad people. Ask the ad people how much it costs for advertising slots. 30 seconds, 60 seconds. I wouldn't go no longer than that for real, because
100%.
you're gonna lose people attention span. But I feel like now this was back in the G, but I promise you, I was dropping maybe $200 and I was rolling on the weekends. You feel me? Every hour on the hour. Why? Because I had a nightclub. So we started our advertisements from 11. That way we knew we was the after hours guy. You feel me? So from 11 to 3 a.m. we rolling. So when you about to go in the club, you hearing this my next plan. When you come out the club and y'all asking yourself, damn, where we going next? We dropping an ad real quick so people can roll over. If we got an artist who's performing that night, we're dropping an ad. Yo, so-and-so is performing at this club this night. Make sure y'all come through. If y'all getting
Yes.
booked or y'all performing shows, y'all can do the same exact thing. Boom, you not from New York and you got a show in New York, or run an ad on the radio and tell people I'm coming type thing. You
Yes.
are a brand. You have to market yourself as a brand for real. And once you start realizing you're a brand and you do business with some of these companies, you're no longer just an artist kind of like begging to get their music played. You're a brand now. You feel me? You start looking for what other events are the radio doing so you can do what? Network with more people. That's how I met most of these people in this industry, by going to radio events, because that's a program director, which people don't know that role. You feel me? That's a radio host. People don't know the difference. That's a DJ. That's the ad person. All of these people have positions that matter for real. And it's not to use them for the positions, but I feel like the more that I learned radio as far as what positions do, the easier I was able to navigate it. Mad people don't even know what a program director is, but don't understand why their music not being played. You feel me?
Yeah. 100%. And you said multiple things there that I want to highlight. Number one, just the flow of something like that, right? Because that's perfect. That's exactly what it is. Like most of the time, it's like 15, 30 seconds. They start off like, yo, this is Kendrick Lamar, you feel me? Here's my new single. And then you play a little, they not like us. Let them vibe for a little bit, you know what I mean? And then you come right back in right after, like, yo, I'm gonna be at Eden tonight. You feel me? Pull up. Like it's really that simple. Like it's easy to create something like that, and then you buy advertising times for that. But also what you mentioned, which is genius, which not a lot of people think of. They just want to get on the radio, right? But just knowing the demo that you're marketing to, right? So maybe it's not in the hip hop and R&B space. Maybe it may be better catered towards the pop station, you know what I mean, or the rocks, whatever the case is, right? Also the timing. You knew 100% that you wanted to hit this demo at this time. So that's what you focused on. And these are the things you need to focus on as well. If you're an artist, just understanding you are a business. All this stuff doesn't happen for no reason. You're not hearing, as Jay said, these club nights with Chris Brown pulling up to Mango's, post party, you feel me? That's not Chris Brown running these. You know what I mean? Like Mango's knows, listen, we want you to be in the building, and we got one of the biggest superstars in the world pulling up, and you need to know about it. You feel me? It's no different than you going out there and doing the legwork and doing that same thing for yourself. It's no different.
Listen, I'm giving y'all a cheat code because it's what people are not doing, and small stuff like that makes you seem different. When you seem different, you stand out. When you stand out, you get
Yes.
attention. You feel me? So my whole point of even dropping that gym, if you will, is just to show y'all there are different ways. My grandmother always told me it's more than one way to skin a cat type thing, right? There are different ways to be able to get to your goal for real, for real. So if you feel like you can't figure it out this way, go another way. But on some real, what I've seen from like people that work in radio is that they even respect you more when you go that advertising route for real, because you take your business serious enough to invest in yourself and put your own time and your money. Therefore, they'll do the same for real, for real. The other side is
Right.
them rolling the dice. It's my expertise and what I feel about music versus you. You feel me? It's what I like and what I vouch for versus you type thing. Versus on the other side, it's a business. You feel me? Quid pro quo. Everybody wins, but the respect that you get, and again, the connections when it comes to the radio side, when you start learning the actual players,
Yeah.
again, learn who a program director is, understand the role of a program director, because a lot of y'all don't. Matter of fact, Kelly, can you please enlighten them on what a program director is?
They're the manager, basically. You can think about it like that. But on top of that, they're also, filling out the logs of the actual station, right? The different clocks that we have each and every hour. They're dealing with the A&Rs. They're basically everything that you hear on air is the program director's responsibility, right? And that's not even on the promotion side either. That's the one beautiful thing about radio that sets it aside from like a podcast or anything like that, is that we have relationships, so we're able to give the listeners tickets to things. We have certain, we had a Beat birthday bash where Boss Man D-Lo pulled up on us like 2-3 weeks ago. We're able to give out tickets for that, right? So the program director is basically the all-seeing like hand, actually the no-seeing hand, because you don't even know what's happening, right? That handles everything behind the scenes for the radio station. And of course you have like assistant program director under there and all that, but they're the ones with the influence. They tapped in with the advertisers, with the A&Rs, with the labels, you know what I mean? They're having meetings and dinners and lunches with the artists and doing all these different things. Those are the big wigs over there.
So please, folks, make sure you're also building rapport with the program directors, because those are the ones who are like pushing the plays day by day type thing. And they also, that's just a good resource for real, for real. They'll teach you a lot of stuff. And again, it's you gotta come correct when you come to them. So if anything, it's
Yes.
you gotta step correct. Ain't no, hey, can you play my stuff? Who are you?
Yeah. And I will say it's happened multiple times, and I've said it before, just having meetings and just being like, yo, have you heard this record? Like me bringing it up. But it's a revolving door. Like, shout out to D Strong, my mentor, who's a program director over at 1045. But he texts me like every other week, like, yo, bro, like check this person out, see if we can get them on the show. I think you rock with them, boom, boom. At the end of the day, it's up to me if I want to put them on that platform. But he's always tapped in with whoever he's having conversations with, and 9 times out of 10, just the rapport we have and him understanding what I'm into, what's good for the station. Most of the times you're gonna get on the radio, you feel me? Because if he's co-signing you, the big homie, what do you think? You know what I mean, is gonna happen over here. So it's very important to just understand the players that are a part of this. And it's not just in like radio, it's in anything you do, right? You want to know from the top level to the bottom what people do. If this is a basketball team, you want to know, I need someone that can shoot. I'm not going to go to the 5 man. You feel me? I got to find like a 2 or 1, the point guard or the shooting guard, because they can help me with this, right? Same way if you come into the radio, like, yo, bro, I can't get your stuff played in prime time, but maybe you can go to an advertiser, work out some numbers, and if you're willing to pay that and you're getting the things that you want, boom, you can go that route. You feel me? So I feel like that's another thing that people don't really understand, that the relationship isn't just with the person that you're talking to. They can also reroute you to someone else that may be able to help you even more if that person can't help you.
Agreed. All goes back to, I feel like, the core value of this whole call, relationships.
Relationships.
Relationships, yo. So I heard you say a lot about trends, and we kind of curving it off, if you would, because you a father and you got to go back to that baby type thing. But what trends do you see kind of shaping the future of radio and its relationship with the artist?
Man, excuse me. I think social media obviously is going to continue to grow, and I think just having that presence and platform is so important, and we know that, right? But just keeping it real, it's about numbers, it's about the people listening to your stuff and all that. Once again, on top of the relationships, it's about what you're doing for your brand. How are you marketing yourself as a business, right? And I really do believe things are switching where people are more looking at the individual as opposed to just like the numbers in terms of how many followers you have, right? I mentioned Chapel Roan earlier, man. Like I hitched myself to her without even hearing a record because of the person she was. So I think radio specifically, I'm starting to see that, but also, once again, if you have a hot record, you got a hot record. But number two, I really think AI is where everything is going. So I 100% want to tell y'all, if you're not using AI, you're already behind the curve. You need to be up on that, whether it's Chat GPT 4.0 specifically, because if you're doing the free version, it's out of date. You feel me? I think it goes up to like 2022, January 2022. So if you put any information, it's not going to pull anything after that, right? So Chat GPT 4, Google has their own version, but you can develop whole press kits through this thing. You can develop emails. You can do all these different things, right? But that's just specifically for you. I mentioned AI in terms of radio because I do believe that's the next frontier where they're going to be able to aggregate so many things in terms of what your numbers are doing, what the people are saying about you. It's going to be able to go through all that and really tell the people up top if they need to play you or not, right? Because as I said before, it's very much we get our numbers from people, but AI is going to switch everything. And radio be behind, you know what I mean? So get in front of it now. Because I do feel if you combine you putting the legwork in, I call it the sweat equity of you going out, being a part of the communities that you're around, going to the downtown Orlando shows, meeting the artists that are around you, rubbing shoulders with them, collaborating, meeting people like myself and Jay who are in the field. It's only going to help you develop not only your online persona, your own persona as an artist, but also it's going to help you moving forward as AI continues to grow, right? Because keep in mind, AI as we know it right now is basically just machine learning. And what I mean by that is it's basically an aggregate of what's on the internet, right? So if I want to see how the Celtics did in game 6 of the finals and I type that in Chat GPT, it's just going to comb the net for the Yahoos, the ESPNs, all those sort of things and give you some information on it. It's not going to 100% be correct because it's just combing. It's not at the point where it's really AI that it's smart enough to delineate, okay, this actually happened, right? And that does exist, but not with ChatGPT and all that yet. But it's going to get there. So I say that to say AI is going to change everything. So get on top of that if you have not done that yet. It's going to change the way we consume radio, social media, everything, TV. You know what I mean? That's AI basically. You know that you're watching the show. It's like, oh, like you're recommending this. Thank you. That's basically AI. That's machine learning, right? So I think that specifically is a long-winded way to say that's what's going to really change things, and that's where I see things going.
Agreed. I feel like if you're not if you're not in AI right now, you're way behind. Like you're light years
And
behind.
not Allen Iverson, you feel me? That's a different AI. You got
Nah,
to step it up.
we're not
You got to
talking
step
about
it up.
practice. We
It
not
ain't
talking.
practice.
Nah, but like I think a lot of creatives fear AI, and I feel like that is the help that they need, and all the information that they can, like, that they're yearning and wanting is right in
Yes.
AI. They're just intimidated, and a lot of people like they're going to replace them. AI is not to replace us; it is to help us to make everything easier for us. So we're not working as hard for real. For real. That whole work smart, not
Yes.
hard. That is what AI is for us. If you just learn how to embrace it, and I mean, it might be a learning curve. It's not on purpose for real, but They got classes and courses everywhere for right on this here interweb. You feel me? And on Beyonce's internet, it's just right here.
Jay, there's people making upwards of 175 to 200,000 that I see that are specifically just chat GPT prompters, which is basically just wording things a certain way in order to get the best response, right? And keep in mind, you bring up a great point. A lot of people are kind of scared about it. They haven't done their research yet, which I understand is still kind of in its infancy, right? But it's coming. It's coming with this iOS update. You're gonna have Chat GPT on your phone. You feel me? So this is gonna be a major topic of conversation because I'm not sure if y'all familiar with the brother. I think it's MBKHD. I think it is. This popular YouTuber, tech YouTuber, like one of the biggest YouTubers out there. But he brought up a good point where people are trying to figure out, is AI hardware or is it like a software to help us, through our daily life, as you said, Jay? And I really do believe that's what AI is. It's not a piece of hardware that you wear and all that because they dropped a couple pins that were AI and those failed. It's really becoming something that's integrated into our phones. It's going to be implemented into the laptops that we have, all the things that you can imagine. They're going to be Chat GPT in these glasses, bro. All those sort of things, because it's a tool just like anything else. So we need to get ahead of the curve, especially our Black and Latinos out there, because you know how it is. We're behind the curve on a lot of these things. We don't have the education. So I love, by the way, the fact that this turned from a music conversation to a tech convo, but this is exactly what we need, right?
They all roll together.
Go.
No, I'm saying they all roll together. That's why I do this.
Yes, 100%. So just know this is a tool, and we need to be able to use it in our daily, as you said, Jay. It makes things much easier. You no longer have to hire certain people who may, type better than you, have better syntax than you. You can literally put that in Chat GPT, prompt it, edit it. Obviously, you want to edit it. Don't put no nonsense out there. Cater it to what you're doing and send it out there no matter what you do. And I'm telling you, that's going to not only streamline what you do as an artist on a day-to-day basis, but it's also going to put you ahead of the curve once everything switches completely to whatever version of AI we're going to have.
Agree. And I feel like I absolutely agree because what you said about being a prompt engineer, that's the next cert that I'm going for myself for real, is because I feel like I figured it out so much. I started using AI. I was doing project management last year. And while I was doing that, I was learning or teaching myself how to prompt at the same time and put the two together. I'm like, yo, people out here getting paid to talk to a computer every day. But on some real, if you know how to prompt the right way, there's nothing you can't do. And I'm not saying it in a bad way, but I'm talking about like a lot of people think, this is what I tell almost everybody when it comes to AI, you have to know what to put in order to get what you want out of it, for real, for real. It's not going to do all the work for you. You have to know your prompt, for real, whether it's, I want a rollout plan, yes, but what are your goals that you want to put in? What is your brand identity? What is your, your social
Yes.
media demographic? Like all of these things are important. So if you don't know what these words or these terms are, you're not going to be able to get out of it and use the tool, I guess, to its best ability because you don't know how to use the tool, for real, for real. And that's why I think a lot of people get afraid and don't use it, is because they don't know how to use the tools instead of using the tool itself to teach them. You feel me? Like use Chat GPT to teach you how to use Chat GPT, for real, for real. Ask it,
Yes.
how do I do this? You feel me? How do I talk to you, type thing? What are some things I should tell you about myself in order for you to be able to create a rollout plan based on my goals? I promise you, one of the first things they're going to ask you are, what are your goals? When's the last time you asked yourself, what are your goals, for real, for real? So you still have to do the work in order for the tool to be able to assist you. So all I say is don't be afraid of it. Understand that from me learning AI, I've made a lot more dollars. I'm not even gonna lie, for real, because I just know how to prompt these things. I know how to teach this thing to work with me and make things so more centralized. I've made more money and I've relaxed more than I've ever in my life, for real, because I've been able to use the tool to its ability, for real. So I know this is not technically music, but it's tech and it is music and it all rolls together. And this is how the industry works. So this is why you have to stay abreast of all of these different things that are happening when it comes to whether it's technological things happening, whether it's current events, they all roll together. Once again, it's like education. The more that you know, the more that you understand in these industries, the easier things get because you're not left out of the damn loop, for real, for real.
That's exactly it. And to bring it back to just the human aspect of it, in my opinion, what you should do if you haven't done this yet, right? And this is just life, right? We're just gonna have regular life convo real quick. What changed my life years ago when I was still living in New York, this is probably like 10 plus years ago, but I decided to like have a mantra in my life, and I highly recommend y'all do it as well. And my mantra was, I want to do my best to affect the people around me the best way that I can, right? In the most positive ways that I can. And that's how I maneuver through life, right? And I mentioned earlier, just having pure intentions, all those sort of things as you go through this industry, because it's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get ugly. You're gonna see some stuff. I'm sure you have seen stuff, right? But if you know your morals, you know where you stand, you know what your mantra is on a day-to-day basis. There's no amount of money, there's no amount of nonsense that can knock you off your pivot. You feel me? So you have to have your morals together. You have to have a mantra, in my opinion, whatever it is. That's mine. You can have your own. You feel me? And from there, it makes things a lot easier. And to bring it back to AI, it brings it a lot easier because you know who you are and what you want to get out of whatever you're trying to prompt for, right? And knowledge itself is the most important thing that people really lose or don't have in this industry specifically, especially when you get into nightlife. It's a lot of lost souls out there, you feel me? And when you walk in the light, people see that. People gravitate towards that. And that's going to help you on this journey, um, trying to get what you need out of life and also to give your best to the world. Because I always, that's how I look at things, I should say, right? If you understand who you are, why you wake up in the morning, why you go to work, why you exist, why you make music, is going to make it a lot easier for you to translate that message to your audience. And that's going to make it a lot easier for people to attach themselves to you, which is why I mentioned earlier, I really do think we're seeing it now that people are starting to attach themselves to brands and people. And as soon as they try another venture, okay, I'm going to follow you on this one because I love the person you are. That's the cheat code as well. It's not just the music, it's the person you are on top of the content that you provide.
Agreed, absolutely agree. It all goes back to being a human being, man. It go human nature and all of this technology that we have.
And they say, why?
Tell them why, man. All right, Kelly, we appreciate you. I want to open it up for maybe 5 minutes if you can give us to see if we got a couple
I'm
questions
with you.
I have. But while we getting questions, you can drop them in the chat. Y'all can raise your hand. Can you tell the folks what some upcoming projects or goals that you might have going on top of where we can find you and how we can stay connected with you?
Yeah, man. All social media at KSuave115, KSUAVE115, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that. You can find me on there. For me, so I mentioned earlier, so I have really like three main shows, right? So my goal is to continue building those. Specifically, I just started on the beat at nights, right? So I'm doing once again 6 to 12 at the moment. And that's like the end all be all for me at the moment because I'm able to have like two different moments, 2 hours for mix shows, but I'm also obviously talking about everything that's trending. Get to get you guys because we have this thing on the iHeart Radio app called the Talkback features. So I get to, really converse with y'all on air. I have different segments on that. So I want to focus and build on that as we continue to move forward. I would love to, chop it up with some of y'all. You feel me? Try to get you on the show as well as my weekend show, which is called The Weekend Wave. Also doing the morning sports talk radio. So if you rock with sports, tune in each and every day, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9:30. We rocking out 96.9 The Game. But on top of that, I'm just slowly but surely building my own brand, right? And Jay, I think I told you this before, but obviously you mentioned me having my child and all that, but I'm about to be back outside, you feel me? So I'm trying to bridge the gap even more because radio is still it's still fucked up from COVID, right? They're very much still behind the eight ball because it's a lot of money going on behind the scenes and it's hard to get money out of these people. Trust me. You know what I mean? But my goal is to bridge that gap once again because I think we all just need to have fun. So I think I'm gonna be outside a little more. So I'm working on more outside events, tying in the station with I don't know, just spin off the top of my head. Yo, we at Eden this Friday. You feel me? Pull up. We got some Raw Wave tickets. Chris Breezy's gonna be in town. We got some Chris Breezy. You know, just getting us together a little more, whether it's brunches, nighttime stuff, all that sort of stuff, just to get us back in the streets and have us having fun once again. And then just building the brand from there, because I definitely want to get into more of what we're doing here, right, Jay? Continuing to do these sort of things. Also, shout out to the Desire Foundation, my sister Jennifer Desire, because I want to do way more in terms of nonprofit stuff. So check them out. They always do incredible work. I'm definitely going to be working with them more in the future. And also, once again, just trying to help y'all, man. Like I'm here to be a resource. I'm here to help y'all. You feel me? So all those things rolled into just trying to serve y'all the best way that I can. You feel me? Let's get this coin, y'all. Let's get this
We
coin.
appreciate it, man. We appreciate it because, like I said, you are one of the people who I see who are not only went outside when possible, but actually like tuned in with the artists, tuned in with the city, really supporting the folks who are out here. And you don't see that a lot for real, for real. You feel me? Like you
Yeah.
see a lot of people see this. It's a cash cow opportunity, you feel for real. So when you get genuine people like yourself who really care about the artists and want to teach them the art behind this. And I've had so many artists who I brought to you who like that's been their first interview
Right.
ever for real. And they're like, this is the best way that this could have happened. Like he actually cared about it. I feel special right now. Like he taught me some things. Like you don't get that from everybody for real, for real. So I want to just make sure that I give you your praises and your flowers while you hear it and see it, because I appreciate you. And that's why I'm always pushing like we need you, bro. We need more of what you're doing. We need more. So whatever I can do to support anything that you got coming up, pushing, whether it's pulling up, whether it's reposting it, whatever, send it my way so I can make it happen, my guy. Because
Man.
it's we need it, man. We need more of it. And that's why I told you that confirmation that you sent me today. That's what I said. That is proof that that's exactly what we need more of. And that's why I made sure I did that. And that's why it happened, because we need more of you in this industry, of people who really are genuine and love the art of this.
Man, I appreciate that, and I receive that, because I feel the same way about you. You know how I feel about you. Like I've given you your flowers multiple times, even in this talk. But you bring up a great point, though, because keep in mind, this is just my journey and what I've chosen to be my focus, right? Not just interviewing like the big artists, whatever the case is, but I really feel the best when I converse and are able to give the spotlight to, the up and comers out here who deserve it. You feel me? Because Orlando has given me so much, being from New York once again and coming over here. Orlando has given me so much. So I try to give my most and everything I can back to the city. You feel me? And this is the best way that I can at the moment. So I appreciate that, because you know how it is. We in a thankless business. You feel me? It's like you go on, you do what you do. Like you don't really get to see the residuals unless you like on IG or whatever platform you on, and you conversing with people. But to understand that we all have a say and a stake in this thing. You feel me? Everybody has space to eat, and it's up to you to figure out where you fit in this space. You know what I mean? A lot of people, this industry ain't for you, and that's all good. You know what I mean? That's cool, but it's on you to learn how to pivot. Once again, learn yourself to see where you need to go or what changes you need to make, because I'm sure, and Jay, you can speak to this too. I've been in moments, as I mentioned earlier, as a journalist, I thought I was going to be writer, double XL, like major editor. And I was like, nah, you know what? This ain't for me. But at the end of the day, I put my best foot forward and tried it. Go out there and try, man. Experiment with some things. I say it all the time. Drink your water, treat your people the right way. You know what I mean? Go make connections, all the different things that we've given you throughout this talk, and you're going to be perfectly fine. I'm telling you, it's going to work out.
Agreed. Trust your struggle, ladies and gentlemen. That's the best thing that I can tell anybody, is just trust what you've been through is going to work, as long as you have a goal and you want to get it done. When you want to get it done, you're not going to stop. You feel me? So as long as you keep that kind of tunnel vision situation and believe in your own self outside of everything else, it's going to happen, man. That's just what I feel. Stay consistent. Keep your eyes open. Put the work in. There's no reason that it won't turn into what you need and what you want for real, for real.
Yes. And real quick. Research. I know we kind of mentioned this earlier, but please I can't tell you how much being ahead of the curve is going to help you out throughout this whole journey, which is why we mentioned AI earlier. just research this field, research tech, research anything you're interested in, and try to be ahead of the curve. Follow the people who are ahead of things, you feel me? That may sound crazy, but you doing your research like, yo, there may be something here, because it pays to be in front of the algorithm, all these sort of things. Just real quick, I'm getting off the beaten path, but I had the opportunity to work with Ryan Leslie. I'm not sure if y'all, know Ryan Leslie, but Ryan, incredible artist, been doing this thing for years upon years. Back in the MySpace days, he was able, with a business partner, to hack the algorithm of MySpace to put this artist that they were working with at the time. Whenever you will put whatever, MySpace.com, it would reroute to her page, and that artist was Cassie, and that record was Me and You. And that blew up and became one of the biggest songs, not only on MySpace, but since it popped off on there, it went onto radio. And that's what got, it playing in the clubs. And then you go into the clubs and he saw Diddy in the club and he's like, yo, you produced this? And that, Diddy, that's a whole different conversation. This is past, you know what I mean? We're going to get past that, but you know what I'm talking about. But when you do stuff like that and you're ahead of the curve, you're able to kind of use a cheat code once again and put yourself in positions you may not have been in before. Because once again, he meets the big wigs, gets Cassie a deal. He starts his own thing and everything kind of snowballs from there. And he's, an artist to this day, getting money from his own listenership and core fans that he's built throughout the years. So I say all that to say, be ahead of the curve, do your research, and continue to be true to you and just make good art and be a good person.
Heavy on be a good person. I feel like that's the perfect one to end this session on, y'all. So Kelly, once again, I appreciate you for coming through, for dropping the gems. This is Jewel Sessions. The reason why we do this is so people can learn the different players that are in the industry and what they can bring to your team, but also how you can build relationships and rapport with different folks, and this can take you to the next level. So until the next time, we're gonna end this recording.